Imagine a teacher in whom total trust is placed, crossing all boundaries. Brittany Zamora, a teacher who seemed to have a perfect life, surprised everyone by engaging in an inappropriate relationship with one of her students who was only 13 years old. What started with exchanges of harmless messages quickly evolved into personal encounters. On one such occasion, inside a car parked near the boy's grandparents' house, Brittany and the student had intimate relations. This event marked the beginning of a series of secret encounters that shocked the school community and brought to light one of the most disturbing stories involving an educator. Brittany Zamora was born on March 16, 1991, in Arizona, United States. In 2018, when the events that shocked the community occurred, Brittany was 27 years old. She was an apparently ordinary young woman with a promising life. Married for 3 years to Daniel Zamora, a man she had known since school days, they lived a happy marriage and were in love with each other. Together, they enjoyed creating special memories, such as when they practiced hang gliding, one of their favorite activities. Brittany always demonstrated being someone full of life, cheerful, and focused on her personal relationships. In addition to her personal life, Brittany also had an exemplary academic record. Graduated with honors from Arizona State University, both in undergraduate and graduate studies, she was a dedicated and beloved teacher. Her career began to flourish in 2016 when she started teaching at Little Tom Elementary School, where she was well evaluated. Her potential caught the attention of a school principal, who invited her to join his team at Las Brisas Academy, a renowned institution in the city of Goodyear, Arizona, where, in 2017, she began teaching English to 6th grade students. Brittany seemed to have the perfect life, a promising career, a stable marriage, and a passion for life and her profession. However, in early 2018, life took a completely unexpected turn. It was in this environment that the first signs of inappropriate behavior between Brittany and one of her 13-year-old students began. The relationship with the student, initially described as professional, quickly transformed into something more. The relationship began to raise suspicions when other students noticed a clear preference of Brittany for him, such as when he was favored in activities and received lighter treatment compared to his classmates. Meanwhile, the school administration was still unaware of the gravity of the situation, although rumors were already circulating among the students. It was in this context that the scandal began to form, initiating a chain of events that would eventually expose Brittany Zamora's inappropriate behavior and its consequences. In early February 2018, after a class, Brittany Zamora sent a message to a group of students informing them that she would be absent the next day and suggesting that if they got bored, they could send messages. What seemed to be an innocuous interaction soon evolved into something more serious. One of the students, only 13 years old, took the opportunity to start a private conversation with Brittany, and from that moment on, the two began exchanging messages frequently. In a few days, the conversations intensified, and they moved their contact to Instagram Direct, a more private space. The relationship soon surpassed the virtual realm. The first physical contact happened in a classroom farewell, when the student was the last to leave. Brittany held him during a hug and kissed him, marking the turning point in the relationship. The messages exchanged between Brittany and the student grew in volume and intensity, culminating in meetings outside of school. The teacher even met the boy in front of his grandparents' house one night, where the two had a physical act inside the car. These encounters and messages gradually ceased to be a secret just between the two, as classmates began to notice the unusual behavior. If you're enjoying the video, don't forget to leave your like and subscribe to the channel. The first physical encounter between Brittany Zamora and the student occurred on the night of February 16, 2018. After several exchanges of messages, Brittany asked the student where he was. He replied that he was at his grandparents' house, and she then suggested a meeting. That same night, Brittany parked her car a little away from the boy's grandparents' residence. The student, discreetly leaving the house, walked to Brittany's car. This encounter became a crucial moment in the unfolding of the case. The teacher and the student had intimate relations inside the car, marking the beginning of a series of inappropriate encounters between them. The illicit relationship between the two, which was unfolding in an increasingly open manner, reached a new level of disrespect when a sexual act was performed in the presence of another student. While the teacher was acting inappropriately with the 13-year-old student, another boy was in the room using the computer. This student, who witnessed the act, reported in a statement to the police that he felt completely uncomfortable with the situation. Brittany, according to his account, didn't take her eyes off him while maintaining physical contact with the other student. This dangerous and reckless behavior within the school environment contributed to the spread of rumors among the students. The situation escalated to the point where other students began to comment on Brittany's preference for the student, mentioning that she often favored him in the classroom and allowed him to escape more severe punishments. This evidence culminated in a formal complaint presented by the students to the school administration. Rumors about Brittany Zamora's inappropriate behavior with the 13-year-old student began to circulate among the students at Las Brisas School. In March 2018, 3 students formalized a complaint to the school administration, detailing the improper relationship between the teacher and the student. The complaint mentioned Brittany's clear preferences for this student, with allegations that she favored him in the classroom and allowed him to escape punishments. The school principal, Timothy Dickey, who had invited Brittany to teach at the institution, received the complaint and initially decided to conduct an internal investigation. He began discreetly questioning some students to obtain more information. Although he didn't initially get compelling information, Timothy Dickey recorded observations in his occurrence notebook, noting Brittany's favoritism towards the student and the other students' suspicions about the relationship between the two. During this period, Brittany became aware of the rumors that were circulating through the school. She approached the principal and, amid tears, denied all accusations, claiming that the students were lying. Brittany stated that her career and her marriage were the most important things in her life, and that she would never put everything at risk for something like this. Despite her claims, the principal continued to monitor the situation closely, without, however, acting more forcefully, which would later be a critical point in the investigations. The students' parents began to notice different behavior in their son, who seemed more introspective and constantly attached to his cell phone. To investigate what was happening, they installed a monitoring application on the young man's device, configured to alert them when certain words were used in conversations. Upon noticing the frequent use of the word baby, the parents discovered that these messages were exchanged with the teacher through Instagram. This led them to confront their son, who confessed to the intimate involvement with the teacher. Immediately, the parents made the decision to report the case to the school and law enforcement authorities. They met with the school principal and the police the following morning to present evidence of the conversations. The principal initially did not reveal that he already had suspicions and information about the teacher's conduct. Despite the principal already being aware of previous rumors, he did not reveal this during the meeting, preferring to act as if he was discovering the case for the first time. Shortly after the meeting, he alerted Brittany about the situation, which generated a call from her to the students' parents in an attempt to ease the situation. However, the parents maintained their position and proceeded with the formal complaint. Later that day, the teacher called the students' parents, trying to minimize the situation and prevent the case from going further, but they remained firm in their decision. This action was a crucial point for Brittany Zamora's arrest and the beginning of the formal investigation that resulted in her conviction. After the meeting with the students' parents and the formal complaint to the police, Brittany Zamora was arrested on March 22, 2018. The arrest occurred as she was leaving the school, and the teacher was taken directly to the police station. During her initial testimony, Brittany cried a lot and asked the police officer if the case would become public, but he could not guarantee that it would not. The media soon became aware of the situation, which resulted in extensive journalistic coverage. Brittany Zamora's case gained wide notoriety in the media from the moment it was revealed to the public. The teacher, who was previously seen as a promising young educator, came to be portrayed as a predator. Media coverage was intense, with news outlets across the country closely following each step of the judicial process. Various programs and reports brought to light sordid details of the case, such as the messages exchanged between Brittany and the student, as well as disturbing testimonies from witnesses. Although Brittany had the right to defend herself, she preferred to use her right to remain silent during most of the interrogation. She talked about her husband, saying he was the best husband in the world, but avoided going into details about the events that led to her arrest. From that moment on, Brittany remained detained until the trial, and her life was completely transformed as she was considered a predator by the media. In court, Brittany initially denied all accusations. For months, she avoided making statements to the press and maintained a reserved posture, while her husband Daniel also refused to talk about the case. However, media pressure grew and Brittany's public image continued to deteriorate, especially after the disclosure of graphic details of the interactions between her and the student. In July 2019, during her trial, Brittany changed her defense strategy and pleaded guilty to all charges. During the hearing, she apologized to the victim and his family, stating that her behavior did not reflect her true character and that she was deeply sorry. However, Brittany also blamed the media for turning her into a monster, claiming that sensationalism exacerbated the public perception of the case. Brittany Zamora was sentenced to 20 years in prison in 2019 after admitting her guilt to all charges against her. The sentence was relatively lenient, considering the gravity of the crime, as she could have been sentenced to up to 44 years. However, the fact that she was a first-time offender with no criminal record and her confession of guilt contributed to the reduction of the sentence. Brittany began serving her sentence soon after the trial, and since then, her life in prison has been marked by some significant changes. In May 2020, she filed for divorce from her husband, Daniel Zamora, claiming that the relationship had no recovery after the devastating events of the case. Until then, Daniel had remained by Brittany's side, offering support throughout the entire judicial process, even publicly expressing that he believed in her innocence. The divorce request raised suspicions that Brittany might be trying to protect Daniel from the legal and social repercussions of his involvement in the case, or that she was seeking a fresh start, free from the bonds of marriage. Additionally, rumors circulated that Brittany had started a new relationship while incarcerated, which would have contributed to the end of her marriage. Daniel, for his part, remained discreet after the divorce request, avoiding public discussions on the matter. His involvement in the case was also the subject of questioning, as during the investigation, he was accused by the victim's family of negligence and of trying to protect his wife. However, there was no concrete evidence incriminating Daniel, which spared him from criminal charges. Brittany's post-conviction relationship was marked by her attempt to rebuild her life within the prison system. In 2021, Brittany requested to be assigned to a job within the prison. After an analysis of her background and behavior, she was approved to work as an assistant in the education team, helping to teach other inmates. This role allowed her a little more structure and responsibility within the prison system, and she is closely supervised by prison staff. The prediction for Brittany to obtain parole is set for 2039, when she will be approximately 48 years old. Until then, she will continue serving her sentence and, if she maintains exemplary behavior, may be released on parole after serving part of the sentence. As mentioned earlier, she got involved in educational activities within the prison, and her discreet posture has helped keep the focus away from her personal life. However, her name continues to be associated with the case, and the media occasionally revisits the story, which hinders any attempt at a peaceful, fresh start. After Brittany Zamora's arrest and conviction, the victim's family decided to legally sue both the school principal, Timothy Dickey, and Brittany's husband, Daniel Zamora. The family's main claim was the principal's negligence in dealing with the complaints that arose within the school. According to the accusation, Timothy Dickey was informed by students about Brittany's inappropriate conduct with the young student, but failed to act quickly and effectively. Instead of taking immediate action, he chose to conduct a discreet internal investigation and then omitted crucial information during his communications with the student's parents and authorities. The family argued that if Timothy Dickey had acted promptly, the inappropriate relationship between Brittany and the student could have been interrupted earlier, avoiding the emotional damage caused to the young man. The principal was accused of serious failure in his responsibilities as a school administrator, putting at risk the well-being of the students under his supervision. In addition, Daniel Zamora, Brittany's husband, was also the target of a civil action. Although he was not directly involved in the crime, the victim's family sued him for trying to cover up his wife's acts. During the process, evidence emerged that Daniel had guided Brittany on how to behave during the investigations and even suggested ways to minimize the accusations. For the family, these attitudes showed that he, in trying to protect his wife, ended up indirectly contributing to the continuation of the abuses. The civil lawsuits against Timothy Dickey and Daniel are still ongoing, and so far there has been no final outcome. The victim's family seeks compensation for the damages suffered, both emotional and psychological, claiming that both, in different ways, failed to protect the young man and act in accordance with ethics and the law. That was the story of Brittany Zamora. What did you think of the sentence and the actions of the principal and the ex-husband? Comment down below. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel, activate the bell, and leave a like for more videos like this. See you in the next one.